We don't need a middle-aged person with low education. Get lost.
This guy is completely unfit to be an interviewer. It's just pitiful for job seekers to be interviewed by someone like him. Well then, I'll be going.
Get out. Get out. Just go already. You're a nuisance and an idiot.
This is worse than I imagined. My name is Tyler Anderson. After graduating high school, I joined a computer company and worked tirelessly in my youth. Though I was sometimes surpassed in promotions by colleagues with college degrees, I told myself this company valued merit and competed through results. My abilities were recognized by the senior management, and after 30 years with the company, I was promoted to the sales department. When the 65-year-old president became the chairman, I was unexpectedly appointed as the president in a rapid double promotion. Even as president of a major corporation, I'm not at the top. Above me are the chairman, the board of directors, the auditors, and the shareholders group. So being president doesn't mean I can do whatever I want. Actually, I was appointed president with a specific mandate. The senior management agreed that the company needed to break out of its stagnation with cultural and employee mindset reforms. To enact these reforms, they needed someone young and innovative. So at 50, I was chosen and am eager to meet their expectations. But reforms can't be autocratic. They must always involve discussion. And I need to gain understanding and empathy to move forward steadily. Even if a change is correct, making rapid, drastic changes can lead to resistance. It's ideal to change gradually and slowly. In managing a company, there are constants and variables. Constants, like the founding spirit of the company since its inception, must not be changed. Variables that should change with time are adjusted flexibly. Since human resources are the lifeline of an organization, they can't be left to others, and a thorough review is essential. Proper placement is also crucial. For instance, in the Romance of the Three Kingdoms, if you assign a warrior skilled in bravery to guard the granary and the less brave to lead the charge, you'll lose the battle. Let the warriors skilled in bravery take the lead and wreak havoc. Those who are not strong or brave, but are good with numbers, should manage the granary and armory, where they can use their talents. I've also worked on motivating our employees. It's important to cultivate a proactive attitude where they identify and solve problems on their own, and they are rewarded for their efforts. I start by broadcasting the president's message in the company newsletter. Sometimes I use videos. I titled one, "You Are All Zhuge Liang," and asked, "Please, I need your wisdom," calling on all employees. If you were appointed as the strategist, what measures would you take? This question garnered far more responses than expected. I was pleased to feel a genuine response in everyone's motivation. I read each suggestion, request, and opinion, sorting them into those that could be implemented quickly and those that would be challenging. If many employees become the driving force, it can be incredibly powerful. While reading the opinions, something concerned me. There were numerous criticisms of the interviewer, Bob Jones.
There's a problem with Bob Jones' interviewing style.
He intimidates nervous job seekers, making them even more nervous.
Although I was hired, I was upset by his disrespectful attitude.
I couldn't ignore this and felt angry. Interviews are conducted by 3 people, but there are also opinions from other interviewers who interviewed with Bob and complaints from those who were yelled at by him during the interviews. I thought this needed investigation, so I talked to the other interviewers, not just Bob. Important matters can't be left to others. Often you hear ministers say, I instructed this at press conferences, but I'm not satisfied unless I see and verify things with my own eyes. For instance, there could be someone with a grudge against Bob playing multiple people and writing several complaints. So I wanted to be cautious. I wouldn't just take these complaints at face value and call Bob in hastily. I also sought the opinion of my most trusted secretary, Michelle Martin. She's only 24, young but incredibly bright and far smarter than I could ever be.
I remember Bob well. When he interviewed me, he commented on my appearance and kept dropping no-nos.
What? Is that true?
That's why I seriously wondered whether I should join this company.
This needed urgent attention. A bad interviewer could either fail to spot a diamond in the rough, or, even if prospective employees passed the interview, they might opt for another company due to the bad impression they saw. Now, what strategy should I employ? When I was the head of sales, I received reports that employees played poker during their lunch break in the warehouse. But if they say, "We didn't do it," that's that. They wouldn't dare pull such stunts in front of a department head or section chief. That's why it's hard for executives to catch employees breaking the rules. So I devised a plan. Instead of my usual short haircut, I wore a long-haired wig and glasses. I'm always in a suit, so wearing work clothes makes me look even more different. Drivers from partner companies come to deliver goods to the warehouse, so I disguised myself as one of them. I'm here to deliver some parts.
There are pallets outside. Just leave them there.
Yes,
Could you please avoid coming during lunch break?
sorry, the traffic was bad.
When you come during lunch, see, it ends up that we have to work through the break.
That's a valid point. After placing the parts on the pallet, I heard voices, so I peeked into the office. Sure enough, veteran employees were playing poker at the back of the office. Playing chess during lunch is no issue, but poker is problematic for other reasons. Besides, lunch break is only an hour, so playing poker after eating seems unlikely. I suspected something and checked the office again after the hour had passed, and they were still playing poker, indeed. Time management was clearly lax. An employee who couldn't stand it probably reported the issue. Directly warning veterans is intimidating, and I understand not wanting awkward relationships. That's why it's up to the executives to correct such misconduct. If you're in a responsible position, you can't ignore what you see.
Hey, how long are you going to be here? If you're done delivering, just leave.
You are. I took off the long wig and removed the glasses.
Oh, Tyler,
It's past 1 p.m. The 4 veteran employees turned pale as I said that in a calm tone. I don't think I need to ask, but you weren't betting, were you?
no, absolutely not, I swear.
I'll take your word for it.
Oh, we were working until 12:20 p.m. today, so.
You're taking a break until 1:20 p.m.?
Yes.
Seeing them sweat, they might be lying. But I said, okay. Anyway, a haughty attitude towards our partner companies isn't good. They're not subcontractors, they're our partners, just like us. I think it would be good to treat them the way we treat our clients. What do you think?
I completely agree. We'll be careful from now on.
I won't reprimand them this time, but there won't be a next. That should go without saying. I was reminiscing about my disguise operation from my time as a manager. It might feel like a sneak attack, but in a way, it's also my trump card. No employee would mess around in front of an executive. But in front of staff from cooperating companies, They feel safe enough to fool around. It's the same with interviewers. If a top executive were present at the interviewer would be nervous too. Since it's just the job seekers, they feel safe to goof off. I put on a long-haired wig and glasses and went to the reception on the first floor. I have an appointment with President Tyler.
Please sign your name here.
I haven't been recognized. This might just work. I wore a name badge and got on the elevator with a few employees, but nobody noticed. I proceeded to the president's office, where Michelle opened the door.
Oh, Tyler, what's with the outfit?
I guess I can't fool your eyes. I told the secretary about my plan, but she did not agree.
There must be other ways without you going to such lengths.
I think shock therapies are important. Anyway, depending on the situation, we may have to let go of Bob. He might even need to leave the company. Reading the complaints, his interviews are just too awful. I decided to go ahead with the plan. I sneaked into the interview venue and waited in the room with the nervous job seekers. I felt like the main character in a spy movie, but if I got caught, it would cause a big scene, so I had to proceed with caution. Finally, it was my turn for the interview. There were 3 interviewers, and 5 of us were being interviewed. Bob, sitting in the middle, looked at me and smirked.
Are you here for a mid-career interview?
Yes, please treat me well.
Raising the average age by yourself.
Sorry. After everyone introduced themselves and gave their pitches, Bob asked,
Tell me, starting from the beginning, something you did in college besides your studies.
The female candidate being asked answered, Yes, I worked hard on volunteering.
Volunteering. That's popular, isn't it? Some in the previous group mentioned it too. Do you think just saying volunteering will get you praised?
No, that's not it.
I was shocked. Not only did he belittle volunteering, but what's with his tone?
Shouldn't you try dieting before volunteering?
What?
I was so taken aback, I nearly grabbed Bob's arm and threw him over in a classic wrestling move, but I managed to restrain myself. The candidate was at a loss for words, her eyes welling up with tears. This was an absolutely unacceptable insult.
She seems unable to speak from crying next.
Mr. Jones.
Another interviewer spoke in a stern whisper, but Bob ignored him.
Let me guess, you volunteered too?
Bob asked with a full smile, and the other female candidate, while looking down, answered,
Yes.
That's fine. You'll definitely be popular wherever you go, right?
What?
The atmosphere turned icy, but Bob didn't care.
You can't freeze up over something like this. The business world is tough. In negotiations, you might get hit with unexpected questions. What's important is to be adaptable and flexible. I only speak the truth. With your looks, you're sure to hear various comments in meetings and receptions. You get what I'm trying to say, right? If you're surprised by that much, you're not cut out to be an office worker.
I wanted to glare at Bob, but kept my composure. Bob, looking very pleased with himself, lectured the job seekers and the interviewers next to him.
My interviews are innovative because I'm testing your adaptability. You've probably read books or looked up how to do interviews online. But remember, scripts are useless in real-life practice.
Who does he think he is?
Next, what did you do in college besides your studies, old man?
Using sir is more respectful. Referring to someone as old man in this context can come across as condescending. I didn't go to college. I started working right after high school.
What? No way. A high school grad? You've got some nerve showing up for an interview at our company.
The job listing said educational background was not an issue. And isn't President Tyler a high school graduate too? Suddenly, Bob's face contorted with anger and he yelled,
Shut up. Bringing up that the president is a high school grad is just airing our company's dirty laundry. Are you a mole from another company?
I answered, high school graduates are anything to be ashamed of. What matters more than educational background is actual knowledge. Knowledge is important, but in practice, the ability to apply knowledge is what's needed. Knowledge and wisdom are similar but different. What's important is wisdom. Bob was furious.
You dare to lecture the interviewer? You can't seriously think you'll pass. Wait a minute. Is this some sort of test?
Suddenly smirking, Bob asked,
Why didn't you go to college? Because no college would take you.
No. I started working right after high school to help support my family.
Trying to play the dutiful son now is pointless. There's no way we could hire a sophist old man like you.
Sophist, old man? It's not sophistry, it's logic. Are you denying logic?
That's enough. We don't need a middle-aged person with low education. Get lost.
This man is completely unfit to be an interviewer. It's pitiful for job seekers to be interviewed by someone like him. Well then, I'll be going.
Leave. Just go already. You're in the way, idiot.
This is worse than I imagined. The next day, I called all the interviewers into the conference room. The president, me, and the executives lined up, and we conducted an interview of the 10 interviewers. Unfortunately, we've received complaints about the way interviews are conducted at our company, both internally and externally, so we need to verify. The interviewers looked nervous, glancing at Bob. Bob looked panicked, perhaps realizing something. Interviews are a serious matter that can significantly impact a job seeker's life. Therefore, interviewers must take them seriously. Fooling around is absolutely unacceptable. Under no circumstances is it okay to yell at job seekers. By the way, Bob,
Yes?
did you ever tell a female job seeker you should try dieting?
No, absolutely not. I would never say such a thing.
Did you tell a good-looking woman you seem like you'd be popular? Bob, realizing the specifics of the accusations, glanced accusingly at the people next to him. Can you answer my question, Bob?
I don't know who snitched, but I swear I never said those things. It's a basic rule in interviews not to carelessly comment on a woman's appearance.
Did you ever belittle volunteering as a commonplace activity?
Tyler, are you just going to take these accusations at face value? Don't you think someone is trying to set me up?
That's why we're verifying this.
I always praise students who volunteer. It's wonderful that they do hard work without pay. It's something I could never imitate.
Bob kept playing dumb, but I finally got to the core. Is it a shame that I, the president, am a high school graduate?
What?
What matters more than educational background is actual knowledge. Knowledge is important, but in practice, the ability to apply knowledge is what's needed. Knowledge and wisdom are similar but different. What's important is wisdom. Bob finally realized something as I repeated the exact same lines in the same way I had spoken. His eyes widened as he stared at me, his face quickly turning pale.
No way. That's not true.
Then, I said deliberately in a monotone voice, We don't need a low-educated, middle-aged person, so get out. Get out, get out. Just go away. You're a nuisance and an idiot. There was no room for rebuttal, and Bob's eyes darted around. I yelled so loudly it echoed through the conference room. You are completely unfit to be an interviewer. Have some shame. Bob, crumbling from his chair, started to cry and tried to justify himself.
Tyler, it's not what you think. I mentioned during the interview, I was conducting a practical interview.
Your arrogant attitude, your condescending tone, all of it is unacceptable. You're off the interview team. No, the things you said during the interview were just too horrible. There's no excuse for that.
Wait, please, sir.
What do you mean by calling me old man? Do you always use such a condescending term?
I never do. Absolutely not. That day was just, well,
An interviewer must act with sincerity. Most people are nervous, and it's an important part of an interviewer's job to make them feel relaxed. Instead, you intimidated them, yelled, belittled them, and interrupted them. Are you trying to drive this company into bankruptcy?
of course not. I would never think of such a thing.
Nowadays, with social media, bad reputations about a company spread in no time. If I were a job seeker, I'd imagine that a company that conducts such terrible interviews can't be good to work for after joining. What you did was barbaric. You're pushing the company towards the brink of bankruptcy. Cornered and with no way out, Bob became defiant.
It's unfair, Tyler. You disguised yourself and ambushed me. Just because you're the president, does anything you do get excused?
Bob, yelling and scattering accusations, was met with cold stares from the executives.
Privatizing the company. Do you think you're some kind of feudal lord? Are you trying to play hero?
What on earth are you saying, Bob?
I'll report this abuse of power to the Labor Standards Office.
See if your claims hold up. Your interviews are problematic enough. They border on insults or even threats. Have you ever considered how a job seeker feels? Maybe the job seekers who come to our company for interviews have been rejected by 10 or 20 other companies and are at their wits' end. If they meet an interviewer like you who yells at them unjustly and rejects them, the mental shock would be unimaginable. The crime you've committed then is far too severe. As Bob hung his head in defeat, I delivered the final blow. There's no place for you in this company. Leave now. Bob, with a look of pleading for help, got the final nail in the coffin. We don't need a low-level middle-aged person, so leave. Crushed by his own words, Bob left the conference room like a ghost. I then addressed the other interviewers once more. Interviewing is also about discovering the diamond in the rough. If you don't look carefully, you might let a gem slip through. Even if you think this person isn't right, aim to be a kind interviewer who gives advice to help them succeed in their next interview. Above all, strive for a polite interview that lets a nervous job seeker feel at ease. Thank you. Everyone responded with a resounding yes. The following week, as I was heading to my office, I saw Bob arguing with Michelle in the hallway.
It's urgent.
This is troubling.
Bob looked pale and seemed worn out. What's going on?
Mr. Tyler, please help.
He suddenly knelt, and I asked, "Did you go to the Labor Standards Office?"
No, I wouldn't. I couldn't. My gratitude to you, President, is deeper than the ocean and higher than the sky.
Cut the lies. Just tell me what you need succinctly.
First, please stand up.
Kneeling in the hallway could cause misunderstandings if seen by others. I went into my office with Bob to talk.
As you said, President, the internet is a terrifying thing. Wherever I go for an interview, they know my name. They call me the worst interviewer.
That figures. It's his own doing, but now there is likely no company that would want to hire him. I understand why someone would post online in retaliation after being unfairly yelled at and rejected by you. In the past, if a store clerk was rude to a customer, you'd call the headquarters to complain. However, making a phone call requires courage since you're talking to someone, but posting online is much easier. Essentially, you underestimated the real world. If it were a business deal, you'd never take such a dismissive attitude, right?
I deeply regret it. I've changed my ways. Please give me just one more chance. Let me work here.
I hesitated. Should I push him away or forgive him just this once? This man has a family. What happens to his wife and children if no company will hire him? Can you start from scratch as an ordinary employee?
Of course, I'll do anything.
Well, one of our warehouse members is retiring, so how about you fill that position?
The warehouse, you say?
It's almost funny how he hesitates right after saying he'd do anything. If you don't like it, that's fine.
I'm not against it. Who said I was? Please, I'm grateful.
I felt a responsibility, so I regularly received updates from the warehouse manager to ensure Bob wasn't causing trouble with other employees.
How is Bob doing?
It's ironic, really, but there are 3 employees in the warehouse whom Bob had interviewed.
3?
They all were yelled at, belittled, or treated sarcastically during their interviews. So they're quite eager to give Bob some rigorous training.
That's quite tragic.
When the tables are turned, humans can be frightening. Did Bob interview you too?
Yes. During my introduction, he suddenly said, "Nice legs," and I was speechless.
What? Maybe I should fire him. As I was about to leave my office, the secretary stopped me.
It's okay. It's all in the past.
A week later, I received a call from the warehouse. I see. Thank you for your hard work.
What happened?
Bob has quit.
Really? I suppose he couldn't handle it.
It can't be helped. If someone rests on their laurels once they're in a position, their personal growth stops. Without a title, they're empty and incapable of doing anything. We should strive to improve ourselves, work hard, and achieve the life we desire. I don't want to lose that aspiration. Arrogance always leads to downfall. That's it. I should establish a motto, something like a company slogan. Could you take a note?
A note?
First, sincerity. Second, sincerity. Third and fourth are sincerity. Fifth is sincerity. The secretary remained silent with a serious face, so I chuckled. Does it sound too old-fashioned?
Well, it's fine, isn't it?
It might not be popular with the younger crowd, but I'm fired up about it. In a chaotic society, proving that nothing beats sincerity is what I want to demonstrate.